Hello YouTubers. Well, it is tear down, scrap out, depopulate time again. So I have got a new victim on the operating table here. And today it's going to be a Cisco 11500 series content services switch. Looks like a 8-port switch. Not a lot on this one. There's absolutely nothing on the back. Just, power connector, power switch. Warning labels, which we're going to ignore. So there's not a lot here. There is one little SFP module here. And these all have nice little gold fingers in them, if I can get this to focus. There we go. So these all do have nice gold fingers in them. I'm not sure what else is in here. I will take this one apart because I know that, these will resell on eBay, but this one's too old. It's just a 1 gigabit, and 2 gigabit is the hot new thing. But if you've got like a dozen of these, you could probably resell them for 20 bucks or so. But one, nah. I keep hoping to get a piece of equipment that has a whole bunch of these in them for either resale or to scrap out the gold fingers in them. But at the moment, only got the one. Let's see what else we got here. There is something in here. Let's see if I can get this off. Of course, I'm working one-handed with the phone in my hand. I should have my tools at the ready and the phone up on the tripod, but okay. Looks like we've got a couple of sockets in here. They call these PCM-CIA sockets, I believe, or CF sockets. So we got a 512 megabyte micro drive in one of the sockets. Now, I will have to look this up because even though 512 megabytes is nothing impressive these days, these old drives do sell on eBay. I guess because people who have pieces of equipment like this need them, or they have some other use for them. So these do resell on eBay. And there's really not that much in here to scrap out anyway. I mean, it's almost too much trouble to get the case open for what's inside. So, alright, so I will check that out and see if that'll resell on eBay. So I'm going to set that aside. Set aside the SFP module. And I'm going to go get some tools and get the phone up on the tripod, and we'll get this teardown going. Okay, I'm not going to get my hopes up too high because I've opened a lot of Cisco boxes lately, and there hasn't been a whole lot of use in them. So, we'll see. Okay, I'll bet those screws just held on the mounting ears for putting this in a rack. I've still got to take out all these little screws, probably to get the case off. Alright, well let me get the rest of these big screws out. Then I'll switch bits and take out the little screws. Let's see, there's a screw. Yeah, they don't spare the screws on this Cisco equipment. I think somebody there is getting a kickback on the amount of screws they use. The last piece I took apart just had an insane number of screws in it. Far beyond anything reasonable. Okay. Have I missed a couple? Yeah. Kinda wants to come apart, but is there any under stickers? Ah, success. Ah, yeah. As I feared. Not an overabundance of good stuff inside. Ah, there is some stuff. We got a ram stick over here, looks like. Kind of an odd looking ram stick. 256 megabytes with some sort of metal shielding over it. That's an oldie. But it's got some gold fingers on it, so, you know, not going to complain too much. Let's see what else we've got. There's going to be some gold fingers here. There's some gold fingers in here, power, heavier duty power fingers. There's some gold plated EMI shielding here, it looks like, on the edge of the connector. That's kind of interesting. That's a nice little bonus. There's some kind of VGA chip here. Probably with a one of the type with a copper plate top, similar to the IBM chips I've been getting lately, but this is a PMC, but I'll bet it's similar to that, so that's probably a VGA under there. This looks like a gold corner VGA with a heat sink on it. Here's a gold corner VGA with a heat sink on it. I don't know what's under this heat sink. Well, let's pull the heat sinks off. Have a look. Yep, big gold corner VGA. There we go. There's another PMC VGA chip, but without the copper backing. Okay. A big heat sink here. Yeah, that is a big gold corner VGA chip. That's one of the biggest ones I've ever seen, I think. All right. Let me get the board out. Power supply. Really 12 volts at 13 amps output. So 12 volts at 13 amps. So these must be DC-DC converter modules here to supply the logic voltages. So doesn't really say whether it's power over Ethernet. I would say this power supply is probably not chunky enough for power over Ethernet. So got no real use for the power supply. We got 6 fans up across the side of it here. Looks like the airflow blows sideways through it. And they're all plastic bodied. The usual 12 volts brushless DC fans. Chassis, by the way, is steel, and very heavy steel. Very heavy steel. There's a nice sheet of steel, actually. I don't generally have room to save steel until I have enough to take it to the scrap yard. But this is a nice piece of steel which could get used for numerous projects around the farm here. So I might hang on to this piece. Alright, let me see if I can get this board out. Take off all these fan connectors. Oh, that's nice. All of the fan power connectors are gold plated. That's a bit of a bonus. Not really any need for that. Yeah, the sockets don't appear to be gold plated, but the pins sticking up on the board are. Nice. Okay. Gonna change bits again. Take this board out. Alright, have I missed any screws? I generally do. No, not this time. Okay. So yeah, oh, there's a little bit of stuff on the back. That's nice. There's a few big flat packs, maybe some RAM. That might be RAM. Lots of tantalum capacitors. And lots of tantalum capacitors on this side too. Some big flat packs as well as the VGA chips. Let's see. Intel chip. Xilinx chip. Alright, there's probably some good gold bond wires in these chips. I know there's good gold in the VGA chips. I just did a video on getting gold out of VGA chips, and I will post a link to it up in the upper right hand corner of this video here. Got some gold pins here. There's going to be gold pins inside this connector. There's gold pins right here inside this power connector. There's gold pins all along here where the fan's connected in. Let's see, there's going to be gold pins inside all of these ports here. We got 1, 2, 3. That's all I see at the moment is 3 little gold-plated oscillators. That's nice. Got the gold-plated EMI shielding up here on top of the connector. And then inside here, they used to call these PCM CIA ports. I don't know what they call them now, but I think they've got a different name. There's 2 sets of gold pins in there, one for each port, because it's 2 ports. So, yeah, not fantastic, but you know, not going to throw it away. Okay, yeah, where the SFP module plugged in, there's gold pins inside there. Oh, upside down, like that. Didn't want to come back out. There we go. Alright, I'm not sure what this big yellow thing is. Let me see, is that a relay? No, that's a time and date doohickey. So that's probably got a little battery in it and a little circuit for remembering the time and date when the power's off. Okay. And, oh wow. Some of the stuff I've torn apart lately, it has big chunky MLCCs on it. This has got the tiny, tiny little ones, barely can see, size of a grain of sand MLCCs. And it's got a zillion of them. Probably all magnetic. There's a fuse. Not gold plated, unfortunately. Got some gold plated fuses lately. Okay. Alright, it's a good little board. Some stuff needs to be depopulated off of it. Good. These gold pins in these connectors are press fit, so I can just pull these out before this board goes in the kiln. That way I don't have to worry about the plastic melting. Alright, that's good. Let me set this aside a second and take another look at the chassis. There's really nothing here on the chassis I want. I think I'll just put this in the recycling. Like I said, I may keep the top because it's a nice blank sheet of steel that can be used for lots of different potential projects. But I really got no use for all these fans. Power supply, I don't know, 12 volts at, what was it, 13 amps? I'll think about it. I do have a few 12 volt projects, so possibly. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll keep the power supply and just recycle the bottom part of the chassis. That's a possibility. Okay. And then these heat sinks can go in my box of heat sinks, which is really overflowing. I need to get that to the scrap yard. They're just, you know, extruded aluminum. They'll pay extruded aluminum for them. You know, there's not much weight there, but I've been scrapping out a lot of equipment, so the box is full and heavy. So let's have a look here. Let me see what I can strip off of this before the board goes in the kiln to get depopulated in the kiln. I should be able to get these connectors here off. Yep. Yep. See the gold plating on that? And there's a couple more in there. There's 3 in each of these. All 3 of them came out that time. All right. And then inside here, there's just a plethora of gold pins. If I can get this out of the board. Yeah, here we go. There we go. So this will come apart fairly easy. I'll do that in a second because I probably need to wear gloves, otherwise I'll be bloody. This is very sharp. And then up across here, speaking of getting bloody, this is all, this EMI shielding up here is all plated in gold, so that's got to come off. I can probably just wiggle that off. Yeah, okay. That off. Nothing else there, that's just steel. Alright, let me get some gloves on and I'll take this apart and expose the gold pins inside. Okay, got my gloves on, got a little bowl to put all this gold plated stuff in so it doesn't get lost. As I peel it off the board. Now let me see if I can take this thing apart. There we go. See the gold pins? See, by taking this off the board now, I don't have to worry about this plastic melting in the kiln and entombing the gold pins inside it. So, that's why I'm taking this stuff off now. Besides, these particular ones were just press fit in. I don't need to melt solder to get them out. Okay. Now there's some gold pins. Some more. And some more. Boy, I'm messy. Alright. Let's see what's under here. That connector inside might be plastic, and I might want to get it off the board too. Yeah, it's plastic. So it doesn't melt in the kiln. There we go. I don't know if that's showing up there, the gold pins inside there, but we got gold in there. Let's see what's inside here. It actually looks like this whole thing is socketed in, and I think I see gold pins holding it in. Let me see if I can take this out. Let me, it's got 4 screws there. Let me change bits of the screw gun again. See if I can get this out. Yeah, that came right out. Look at that. Got little gold fingers across there. Nice. And it's got gold pins inside. 2 sets. Oh, I don't know how many. Probably 60, 80 per connector, and there's 2 connectors in there. Yeah, double-sided little gold fingers. Very fine gold fingers on there. Nice. Okay, and then there's a little plug here with gold in it. I can see the gold naked eye. Let me see if this will come out. Yeah. I don't want it to melt in the kiln. Not sure what the best way to take it out is. I guess it doesn't really matter if it comes out in pieces. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, look at the gold. Okay. Yeah, okay. Okay. A little bit of stuff sticking up here. So all this gold-plated stuff, I will remove the gold with a gold leech or gold stripper that I use called Eco Goldex, and I will put a link to that video of how I use the Eco Goldex in the upper right-hand corner right about now, so that you can check that out if you are interested. I thought I saw one miss the bowl, but now I can't find it. Okay. I've got a little more gold-plated stuff. Disassemble this thing. You gotta put my gloves back on or I'll be bloody. It's all sharp. I know, I need new gloves. These have seen better days. I actually have new gloves, but I keep forgetting to get them out. And these are always right where I need gloves. Alright. It's quite the little Rube Goldberg contraption here for inserting and ejecting the cards. Lots of little bits and pieces. There you can see the gold pins exposed. See if I can get the other set exposed. Yeah. Oh, more gold plating. More EMI shielding with gold plating. Nice. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, and there's some there too. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not going to disassemble this anymore. This whole thing will just go through the gold leach and get the plating leached off of it. It'll take it off of the shielding, it'll take it off of the pins inside these connectors, and it'll take it off the little tiny fine fingers here. Good, cool. Let me see, any more gold-plated shielding here? Well, that seems to be copper. It looked like gold at first, but I think that's copper. Yeah, that's just copper. Okay. It's pieces, bits and pieces. Is there anything else I need to harvest off this board? Okay, there's some gold-plated pins. They were surface mount, so that makes them easy to get off. I like it when they're surface mount. Let's see, those over here are through hole. They're just going to have to wait till the solder melts. These are all through hole. Alright. The rest of this can be depopulated in the kiln. I'll get everything off the board, since most of this stuff is surface mount. Once the kiln comes up to temperature above the temperature of solder melting, all this stuff will just slide right off. Some of this stuff that's mounted through hole, like these gold pins over here, and these jacks up here, they'll come off too, but I'll have to probably pull them off with a gloved hand. But I should be able to get just about everything off this board. Oh, yeah. There's some more gold. The socket that the little laptop-sized RAM stick was in, that's all looking heavily gold-plated up in there, so that's nice. I'll get that too. That's just surface mounted. It'll come off. All right, so I think this board is ready for the kiln. I'll show you that when I get it in. So let's take a look at the inside of this SFP module. So I can see it's got gold fingers on it. There was a laser warning on the box, so it's probably got a laser diode in it. I'm hoping that the laser diode has gold pins. There might be an LED in there with gold pins too. They usually use pretty high quality stuff in these. Like I said, since I've only got one of them, I'm not going to worry about trying to resell it. If I had a dozen, you know, might make 20 bucks on eBay. Nobody's going to want one. Let's see here. It's got this steel shielding on the outside, but it looks like the case underneath is plastic. Here I'm doing this without gloves. If blood starts spurting, just avert your eyes if you're queasy. Try to do this on camera. Well, there's the laser diode in there. Okay, yeah. One's going to be like a laser diode and the other's going to be like a phototransistor, I think. But I don't see any gold pins so far. The last one I took apart had gold pins on the transmitter and receiver. This one does not appear to be that well built. See if I can get... There we go. Probably doing this the hard way. There we go. So we got a little tiny circuit board in there with looks like a little tiny BGA chip and a couple of really, really tiny little ICs. And they got double-sided gold pins on there. Looks like it's all held together with one little tiny hex screw. Which I don't know if I have one that tiny handy. See if I can just loosen it up this way. Naturally not. Tighter than a miser's wallet. Alright. Let me see if I can find a hex key to take that out. Alright, that is a tiny, tiny little hex screw in there. And it is tight. It's fighting me the whole way out. Ooh, that is some super fine thread on that. I can barely see it. That is super fine thread. There we go. There's all the inner workings. Oh, it's gold plated on the back. I mean, there's not much gold plating there. You know, if I had 50 or 60 of these, it might add up to something. Or 1,000 of them, but there's some gold plating. All right. So this will go through the leach too. And then what I will probably do is these receiver transmitter things probably have some gold bond wires in them, I would imagine. So I will probably put these with my IC chips and LEDs and run them through the same process I used to get the gold bond wires out of them. Alright, so this right now It's going to go in here with all the other gold-bearing stuff that I got out of this unit. And this will go through the leach. The memory card here. Are my eyes deceiving me? The rivets look like they're gold-plated that are holding this shield in. Okay. So this is going to go through the leach and I'm going to strip all the gold off the surface of it. And then I'll pull the shield off and get the IC chips off of it and run them through my process where I get gold out of IC chips. Because RAM chips generally have gold bond wires in them. Okay, so that's going in here. So here's all the gold-bearing stuff. Not a huge amount. But hey, some. Better than nothing. Alright, let me get that board in the kiln. Okay, here we are out back at my dirty kiln that I use for depopulating boards. And I've got this wire basket in here for when I'm depopulating large groups of boards, just to keep the boards from getting too close to the heating elements on the sides and charring. But since I've only got one board to depopulate, I think I'm just going to stick it right up here on top like so. The top of the kiln gets hotter first, so this should get this to the point where the solder's melted enough to depopulate this pretty quickly. So let me close the door and start the cycle. Go. Okay. So over the next hour, the kiln should ramp up in temperature to about 400 F. But I will come out and check it sooner since that board's in there all by itself up at the top. The heat rises, so it'll probably get up to temp in there up at the top a little quicker than that. So I'll come out and we'll see. I should be able to just shake it and have most things fall off. I'll show you that when it happens. Alright, it's been about an hour. I actually meant to check on this a little sooner, but I got involved with something else. So let's have a look inside the kiln and see what we got. Oh yeah, coming right off. Look at that. Stuff just coming right off. You can just brush it right off. These big BGAs. All these little IC chips. Oscillators. Tantalum capacitors, pretty much all of it. Gotta get these, yep, these through hole pins off too. Yeah, they're mostly coming off. Yep. Alright. About the back of the board. Yep, I can just brush everything right off. Alright. That is one pretty depopulated board. Okay, there's a through-hole capacitor there that's not wanting to come off, but I don't really care about it. There's a couple LEDs over here that look like they have melted onto the board. Actually, that's a light pipe, not an LED. The LED, little surface mount one, it's not wanting to come off. I'll rip it off with pliers later. There's one last little IC chip. There we go. Depopulated. That was easy. Alright, that'll go in my depopulated boards pile. All the stuff in here. Let me turn the kiln off. Give you a look. So all this stuff, gonna have to let it cool down. I'll probably sort through it tomorrow morning. Alright, let's have a look at what we got off this unit. Got the chassis here. The top, the bottom. The bottom has some fans in it that I really can't use. They're plastic body, unfortunately. It's got a really nice 12-volt power supply. I have a lot of equipment that uses 12 volts, but I also have a lot of 12-volt power supplies. So, you know, I need another one like a hole in the head. So, I think I'm just going to put the whole bottom section in the recycling. Steel, you know, no real value to it. The upper section, though, I'm going to keep because that is a nice piece of sheet metal that could possibly be useful for something. So I'm going to keep this at least for now. And then let me get the components up here and we'll look at them. Alright, this stuff is all cooled off so I can sort through it. And we'll see what we got here. Well, we got all these Ethernet jacks. They've all got 8 little gold fingers in them. So we got 2 four gang jacks and 3 single jacks. Okay. Oh, here we go. Here's these gold-plated pins that the fans were plugged into. It's all those. There's some little gold-plated pins. Start a little gold-plated pin pile. I don't know where that bowl went that I had the other gold-plated stuff in. I'll have to find it. There's some more gold-plated pins. There's the thing that held the RAM stick, and it's pretty heavily gold-plated. It's got more gold plating on it than I usually see on RAM stick sockets. That's nice. The older equipment generally has more gold plating in it, and this piece of equipment was a little long in the tooth, so you know it's good for us. Even though there wasn't a whole lot of good stuff in it, there was a lot of gold plating on the stuff that was there. Let's see, that's just trash. There's some melted plastic. That's trash. Let me get these BGA chips out of here. Got some gold corner BGAs and some other kinds of BGAs. These are going to have good gold in them. There's another PMC BGA. I thought. Yeah, there's one. There's a BGA. I thought there was another one here somewhere. Okay. One of our BGAs is missing. I may have to check the bottom of the kiln to see if somehow when I depopulated the board it missed getting into the catch basin here. Because I thought there were 3 gold corner... No, I guess there were only 2 gold corner BGAs, weren't there? Yeah, that's right. Okay, never mind. Then we got these flat packs. Lots of pins on them. So I'm sure there's probably lots of gold bond wires inside. Got a separate pile for flat packs over here. Flat packs and other ICs and semiconductors. Lots of little tiny surface mount ICs. That's garbage. Let's see. LT1764. I'll bet this probably came off one of the DC-DC converters. Probably like one of those bipolar drivers or something. Oh, lots of little tiny ICs. Tiny ones. Here's a big one. Yeah, we got some magnetics here. Halo. They're worthless. They just got potted in little torrid transformers. They go with the jacks. So those are garbage. They look like ICs, but they're garbage. Okay, any more semiconductors in here? Just a couple. Alright. So we got these DC-DC converter modules. They fell off, and before they got a chance to populate, they fell off the board and went down to the bottom of the kiln where it was cooler. So I don't know if that's showing up. They've got a lot of big chunky MLCCs on them. What I will do is I will put this with my small boards, and when I run a batch of small boards through the kiln, I will make sure these get depopulated. I don't know what that is. Some sort of little tiny daughter board. I don't know where that was. There's like 3 of them here. We've got these little white squares on them. Now that one's a little different than the other 2. BE15C. I don't know what those are. Looks like most of the parts on it depopulated and are down in here. This one's got a transistor and an MLCC still stuck on it. And this one's got like a chip resistor stuck on it. And of course the white things, I don't know what they are. And then this one, again, most things depopulated except for some MLCCs and whatever that is. Maybe a flat pack? Little tiny flat pack? I don't know. Okay, we got some electrolytic capacitors here. They are scrap. They can go in the garbage. Oh, here's another one of these little boards. I don't remember seeing these on the big board. I don't know where they came from. I'll have to look at the early video and see where these came from. Here's the time and date module. Let me see if I can pull this apart. See what's inside. The last couple I took apart had gold pins inside, but yeah, there's an IC chip on the bottom of it. Okay, but this one's different. The last 2 were Dallas Semiconductor. This one is, who makes this? I don't know who makes that. I don't recognize the oh, there's some gold-plated pins there on the bottom of this thing. But I don't recognize the oh, this is all potted together with epoxy. What I will probably do is I will put this with will I do that? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put this with the gold-plated stuff and I'll get the gold plating off. And then after I got the gold plating off, I'll throw it in with the ICs, because there's probably a little battery in there that'll explode too. So, but there might be more gold in here. So I'll put this with the ICs, incinerate it, and grind it up and see if I can extract any gold out of it. But for now, it's going with the gold-plated stuff. I might rethink that. Maybe there's nothing in there but a battery. Maybe everything else is right here. Okay, there's a heat sink. I think that's steel. I don't think that's aluminum. It's awful heavy. Power connector. Garbage. Alright. So what are we down to here? I got some, there's an oscillator. That one's not gold-plated. I missed that one before. I noticed the gold-plated ones, but I didn't notice the non-gold-plated ones. Alright, and there's some chip resistors. That's a push button. That I think is a chip inductor. It's quite heavy for its size. That's probably got a little torrid in it. There's another one. Yeah, I'll bet those are chip inductors. There's one of the little gold-plated oscillators. I put that with the gold-plated stuff. There's another one. I thought there were 3. There's the third one. Okay. We had 3 gold-plated oscillators and 1 non-gold-plated oscillator. Okay. And we got, oh, wait a minute. There's a bonus. There's a 4th gold-plated oscillator. I must have missed seeing one on the board. Okay. Alrighty. And then we got a whole lot of tantalum capacitors here. We got some black ones, and we got a whole bunch of yellow ones. So, and there's another one of those chip inductors. Let me get my tantalum capacitor jar here, and we'll fill this up. I might speed this section up. I'm going to make sure that's really a tantalum capacitor. Sure looks like it. Okay. Okay, I guess that's all for the tantalum capacitors. Well, there's one, as I say that. All right. There's a fuse, and I thought I saw another fuse in here, even though I think there was only one on the board, but I don't see it now. There's fuse, surface mount fuse, that's garbage. Oh, wow, there's a lot of stuff left in here. Oh, there's the other surface mount fuse. All right. There's a lot of stuff left in here. There's a lot of little resistor networks. There's a lot of little tiny MLCCs. The tantalum. I am not sorting all this stuff out. That is just, there's just too much stuff here. Somebody with too much time on their hands can sort it out. All right. And the MLCCs that I'm seeing, they are magnetic. So that means they probably do not have palladium in them, from what I understand of MLCC processing. Now, maybe the big chunky ones on these power boards, maybe they're non-magnetic, but all these little tiny grain of sand ones in here, they seem to be magnetic. And of course, I'm also picking up a lot of little chip resistors and resistor networks, and that stuff is just too tiny to try and sort out. I'm not going to sort that out. I'll put this all in my magnetic jar. Sell it to somebody on eBay for a couple bucks, and they can spend a month sorting it out if they're really interested. Yeah, there don't seem to be any non-magnetic MLCCs in this one. I'll pull out the big chip resistors. There's another fuse. I didn't see all those fuses on the board, but they must have been there somewhere. Okay. It's a little glass diode, too. Somebody asked me in the comments on one of my other videos what a glass diode was. I'll try and get a close-up photo of that, so that they can see what it is. This is a diode in a glass barrel. They're very common as through-hole components, but not quite so common. There's an IC. Oops. Not quite so common as surface mount. So instead of having leads on them for through-hole, they just have little solder tinned ends so that they can be surface mounted. All right. I guess that's about it. So, let's see. What did I do with that other oscillator? There it is. The non-gold plated oscillator can go in my non-gold plated oscillator jar. Starting to pile those up. Magnetic MLCCs, tantalum capacitors. All right, things are piling up. All right, so let's take inventory here. Got the chassis, which I've already talked about, and the power supply. Got the circuit board over here, which can go with my depopulated circuit boards, and I'll get a little bit of money for them at the scrapyard. This is all garbage over here. This is all stuff over here that can go with my small boards when I get them depopulated. Here's the gold-plated stuff I got off the board before it went in the kiln, so all this stuff with gold plating on it can go in here now and join it. There, so that's all the gold-plated stuff except for these, which I keep separate because they're going to go through a slightly different process. Got a few BGAs over here, nothing to write home about. Got a small pile of ICs, again, not a whole lot. So, but you know, that's kind of the story of modern Cisco equipment. Not a huge amount in most of it. Like I like to say, the Cisco boxes tend to be mostly empty space inside these days. But, you know, it's better than nothing. There's a little bit of stuff here. But I wouldn't want to pay for a box like that. If you could get boxes like that for free, that's great. You know, you can get some gold-plated stuff off of it. You can get some components that are going to have some gold in it. You can get some stuff that maybe you can resell, like the tantalum capacitors. I'm going to resell that when the jar is full. But you're not going to get any kind of a value out of it that's going to allow you to buy those things. They're just forget about it. But if you can get it for free, hey, that's great. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video, learned something, liked it. If so, give it a thumbs up down at the bottom. And feel free to subscribe so you can see more teardown videos, or you can watch me get the gold out of this stuff when I process it. Let me find that BGA I dropped before I forget where it went. There it is. So anyway, thanks for watching. Keep it safe out there. Have a good one. Bye.